So how are you all, guys?
Doing really well, thanks, Vanessa.
Here we are, our usual Tuesday night catch up, which is a lot of fun.
Yep.
And hang on a sec, I've got it.
Headphones.
Well, while Vanessa's doing that, we've got to introduce the new panel member tonight, Mr. Tony Green. So certainly showing us up with the best looking outfit as usual, TG.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you for that acknowledgement of presence. I appreciate it. How are you?
Oh, mate, doing pretty good. You know, just making sure I keep busy and go out for a couple of bushwalks each sort of day. And similar to Sam Burke, who's been working out, I can't do that. So I just go around for a short bushwalk. So yeah, that sort of keeps me sane at the moment.
I just sold my gym today, mate. You're working out, and I just got rid of the equipment today. So I think
mate,
you're on the right track.
anyone who sells the gym in COVID is either fucking mad or up to the cash, you know.
Now I can hear you all.
On you, mate. Hey, Vanessa.
Hi, I can hear you all without the echo. I thought it was such a good idea having headphones, ended up being a bit of a disaster.
Look better like that anyway.
So how are we all? And I think, Andrew, you just introduced Katherine Newton from Are You OK?
Not yet. He went straight to me.
Tony Green. I was going to let you do the very special guest.
You just did the special guest.
Sorry, Tony.
No problem.
So yes, tonight we have Tony Green from the Australian Food Service Advocacy Body joining us in the conversation, because unfortunately Martin Butcher from Northern Territory wasn't able to make it tonight. He has a wine tasting on, so he felt that he would be slurring his words and so forth. So he said to say hello to everybody and apologise for not being here. And our very special guest tonight is Miss Katherine Newton. How are you, Katherine?
I'm doing okay, thank you. Definitely pandemic fatigue slipping in, but I went for a good run today. Got the team are firing on all cylinders. So if the team's firing, then I'm firing. So thank you for asking.
So Katherine is from Are You OK, which I'm sure you might have, many people in the industry know of you or know you, and the amazing work and advocacy that you do for well-being and mental health as well. How are things at the moment for you in particular, given what it is that New South Wales is currently going through? And, you know, it could quite easily be national as well. You know, Melbourne's been through 3 months of lockdown. I mean, that wasn't a great time at all either. And now obviously with New South Wales. And how are you going?
Thanks for asking after us. We're doing okay. We are really trying to be there for everyone at the moment. And you know, the difference with Are You OK is that we're not talking to the people who are not okay. The difference with Are You OK is that we speak to the people around the person who is struggling. So we're really making sure that we're just driving the message home of staying connected, that friends, families, colleagues, managers and leaders really walk the talk of this authentic moment of saying, how are you going? Because people are saying that they're fine. And a lot of people are. A lot of people like working from home. A lot of people like the introverted nature of this, but many of, and I'm sure you're in your industry, certainly not because you're introverts, certainly a lot of people are struggling. And so trying to help people on this roller coaster. The roller coaster is continuing. No one expected, I don't think anything, you know, if you think about this time last year, that we'd still be here. So managing a lot of feedback and a lot of demand at the moment. And one of the industries and cohorts that are always at the top of my mind is indeed hospitality. For many of you on the call, you know, I've been very passionate about helping you as much as we can. Sometimes I feel like I don't know what to do. I'm trying to really get as much feedback as we can. I wish that I could give more funding. I wish I could fix workers. I wish I could fix the other challenges that you face. But what I'm trying to do is really encourage you all to look out for the signs that someone's struggling. And there may be lots of them, and they may be very hidden. So at the moment, our call to action is, to delve a bit deeper. Are you really okay? There's a lot going on right now, and being open yourself to say, look, this is what it's been feeling like for me. Sometimes people feel like they don't have it as bad as others, but, each to their own, no judgment. It's how I feel when I'm not okay is very different to how you're all going to feel when you're not okay. So it's about keeping our relationship strong so that we're more inclined to notice those signs when the behaviours and the routines change.
Actually interesting that you should say that. And guys, you jump in. I just wanted to piggyback on the end of what you just said there. And I feel like in this particular instance, you could throw as much funding as you wanted to behind the well-being and mental health. I just don't believe that monetary input at this stage would be something that's adequate for what people are going through, insofar as listening and I read your mateship manual, and you're quite clearly saying there about not giving advice. It's more about listening and knowing the right questions to ask people that I don't know that it, I was talking to somebody about this today. I think it may have been Tony, but for me, I believe it's more about mental wellness as opposed to mental health for us at the moment, because there are difficult conversations. I mean, there's staff stood down. There's, we aren't an industry that can work from home.
Absolutely not. And it's about asking each other, what does your best look like? When you're in a well space, what does that look like? What are the things that you enjoy? What are the things that I would see from you when we're working together? And that's a really good conversation to have when you are feeling well and able to do that, because when someone is struggling, it's helpful to remind them of what they told you. So of course I can say, go for a walk, put bookends to your day, keep on, monitor your alcohol intake, etc. But at the end of the day, what works for you? When are you at your best? And if someone that you know and care about knows that, then it's helpful that when you're starting to go low, that they can help boost you and remind you, because when we're struggling, it's easy to forget what makes us feel good. It's easy to forget what helps. Sometimes that can be really hard. And of course, there's what we call the help giver. It can be really upsetting and frustrating for us when we can see the person that we love and care about not being honest, that they don't feel that they're ready to say that they're not okay. They don't feel that they're ready to take steps, and we mustn't judge them for that. We must give them the respect and the space that they need. It takes a long time sometimes for people to openly say that they want help and need help. But what we can do is remind each other of what makes us feel good and what might be some of the signs where we're starting to wobble a bit. So for example, with a couple of people that I care about and love deeply who do struggle, then we have a rating system. So if 1's your all-time low and 10's your high, where are you now? Little things like that, when you've got that constant connection, just checking in. How are you going today? What's your rating at the moment? Also helps you to get a sense of where they're at.
Such a good tool. I use that as well because it is so simple. It's really simple just to go, give us a score out of 10, and at least you kind of know where you're starting at, right, with the conversation. And I think what I really like about the mateship manual is the simplicity of it. You don't need to go through the whole sequence. Just open up the conversation, listen, give some advice and follow up. I mean, get them to get proper advice, I suppose. And I just think it's such a simple process. I think that's the greatest thing about the program, quite frankly. That's a real hats off to you guys, because, and I'm just going to say, especially for blokes too, in a lot of ways, less is more, quite frankly, especially in that kind of check-in piece. The brief of the check-in, which is the score out of 10, just works beautifully. And then you kind of, anyway, I just think I think that's a really awesome part about the manual. And you know what, we were just talking about budget. it costs nothing for people around each other to ask, are you okay? Not a cent, not a single cent, but so powerful. I think that's again another great attribute about it. So it's really just getting people to have that conversation, which is what it's all about, isn't it? Simple.
Exactly. Keeping it free and keeping it simple are where we absolutely stay. And we also are very firm on staying in our lane. So we're not a counsellor, we're not a support service, and nor are we a training provider, because there are many, many wonderful organisations that do that. So if we can focus on this simple, practical thing that everyone, any walk of life, any age, any demographic, any job can do, what we're trying to do is be that safety net for people, to try to catch people before they fall or as they're falling. And there'll always be a need for professional support. Sadly, there will always be mental ill health. We will all face mental health conditions most likely at some point in our life. And of course, there are the crisis points, there is the suicidality. But Are You Okay is really about prevention. We're trying to stop the smaller things becoming the bigger things. We're trying to stop that bucket from being too full, that it overflows into crisis. I absolutely accept that sometimes that's not, we can't prevent that, but if we can at least have that sense within us, have that moment of, oh, there's a thing called Are You Okay? I know I'm supposed to do something or ask here. And a lot of the time, you're doing it anyway. When you care about those you love, you find that you're having these conversations. I think the simplicity of it is because people, we survey and we do our research on what are the barriers to engagement, and people think it's a really complex conversation because what about the emotion of the other person? And then what if you don't give the right advice? If you care about someone, it's far, far better to ask. If you give the wrong advice, then you'll walk down that road with them and you'll find another path. That it's an absolute myth that when you talk to someone about suicide, that they will take their lives. It's about having conversations about what works for you. What's the next step for you? What can I do to support you? I can't fix it, but I want to walk with you.
Yeah, and I think my view here is I'm quite a talker, and I like to ask quite often. But for me, I think the biggest thing that I take away from it is just having the ability to listen. Because while I might be ready to talk and ask, the other person's not quite ready to answer. So just having a bit of patience as well for me. I'm just trying to find that balance sometimes, because there's a lot of people you want to reach out to. But just making sure, for me, the biggest thing is listening, and really listening and pausing it's really powerful, and just giving people that permission to speak. I think that's what I'm taking from this at the moment as well.
Nice. A really good tip is to sit with like this. Cover, because I have to do the same because I'm such a talker, and it's so often you want to interrupt, you want to jump in and say, oh yeah, I know, or yes, oh that's a good thing. But I was a lifeline telephone counsellor, which is what drove me to make the move from corporate into not-for-profit. And I always say that 90% of the time on those calls, I was just quiet. I was just silent, just encouraging. Yep, tell me more. I'm here to listen. Yep, I'm here. And I always say too that quite often, again, like 90% of the time, people will find their own way to close the conversation. They'll have a moment where they'll go, oh yeah, I haven't thought of that. Okay, I might explore that. Some people would just say, I'm a bit tired now. That was a bit draining. I'm done talking now. Okay, we'll go back, or let's have another chat any other time. But really that silence, let someone have space. We often hear from people who don't like Are You Okay? And of course, that's absolutely understandable that it's triggering for them. And quite often it stems from they had a conversation, but no one bothered to listen to the answer. So why are they going to open up again? Why are they going to engage with Are You Okay when no one wants to listen to a word they've got to say? And it's not being heard, and it's not being valued, that really contributes to someone's mental ill health.
Yeah.
I really like that rating. I really like that rating system that you were speaking about. And I know the simplicity of the mateship manual and the rating system, it works for the blokes, as you said, Tone. But let me tell you, for females, I mean, we carry a lot, like we got our families, our partners. I mean, it works just as well for us as well, and we're all brought up, I feel, to be strong and to be resilient and to bounce. But I mean, you know what? On a personal note, 2021 has been an arse of a year. Like, it has been a horrible, horrible year. And we said back in 2020 that 2021 was going to be so much better. And here we are. And it's, to me, it has been a nightmare. So it's, I think the rating system is a really good way to look at it, because you're not going to say, oh, I'm not doing okay, or, you know, it's much easier to say, oh, yeah, I'm a 3 today, or I'm an 8.
Yeah.
What it is.
Yeah.
And when someone says to you, I'm having a really tough time at work, well, what does that mean? But it's hard, isn't it? That's hard for words. So, okay, tell me what it's like for you at work. Give me a rating, because what's bad for me might be a 2, but to them it's an 8.
I think it's fantastic as well. You want to address it before you get down to those 1, 2, and 3s. You know, I think that's about mental health. Once you hit a 5 or something, it's probably time to go have a chat to someone, maybe seek out professional help. And you don't want to get down to those really low levels. So I think I'm lucky. We've undergone some mental health training, which I've sort of, helped put forward at Unilever, and we've had some organisations which have certainly showcased some of the great stuff that Are You OK has done with Livin and Checkmate and stuff. And I think acknowledging the warning signs of people, especially when you're a line manager or you've got other staff, is really important to understand what the warning signs are and also what to say, because you sort of, the Are You OK is fantastic, and I think that's great. And sometimes you need to ask a few more questions, open-ended ones, to really find out exactly how they're going, because especially blokes and chefs, Are you OK? Yeah, I'm sweet. And you need to sort of keep prodding and seeing what those warning signs are. So I think what you guys are doing at Are You OK is fantastic, and bringing mental health to the forefront is great in this industry, and especially needed.
Oh, thank you. Our theme, our call to action last Are You OK Day was "There's more to say, are you OK?" And I was so delighted that we were there. I always say that when Gavin Larkin, our late founder, started Are You OK, he couldn't have said, there's this thing called Are You OK, and someone's going to tell you that they're not OK, and it's going to be a bit scary and a bit challenging, but go for it anyway. You know, we had to have that awareness piece. And I think the last 10 years has absolutely been awareness. And what we try to do every year for call to action is reflect what the community is saying back to us. So a few years ago, people started to say, but it's not just Are You OK Day, it's every day. You're right, so every day is Are You OK Day. Then people asked us, you want me to ask this question, but how do I know when someone's not okay? What are the signs that people are struggling? So we did trust the signs. Then pleasingly, which is where we always wanted people to be, is what do I do when they say no? So there's more to say after Are You OK? You need to listen, keep those open-ended questions going, check back in with them. And then this year will be more in terms of that, delving a bit deeper. If someone tells you they're fine, are they really fine?
So Katherine, I just wanted to say myself, and I sentiment Vanessa as well, I'm one that loves giving back to so many people, and I love charity and I love helping other people. But to be honest, at the moment, I've probably had the most anxiety I've ever had in my life. I'm paranoid when I hear the news. The industry that I love so much is on its knees, and last year I probably had things to go through and work and had missions to do, and I was busy. This time around, I've become more paranoid. I don't want to go in public, which is really unusual for me because I love people. So I'm getting emotional at the moment. I'm finding it really tough this moment. I'm probably sitting, to be honest with everyone right now, I'm sitting on a 1 or a 2. And for me to say that, because I don't, and I've spoken to people professionally and tried to get help, but at the moment I can't help the people that I've been helping, and I can't hug people. I can't do the things that I normally do. And I think as someone that has been in that position to listen, at the moment, I've got some great people on this line that always listen to what I do, but I don't think I've been truly honest in that space because I'm afraid of where I'm going and what I'm doing. Sorry.
That's all right.
I just found, I hear the news and I get paranoid about just the news. Yeah. For me to be in public, I've had to get a COVID test so that I can be an essential worker. And just to go out in public, I don't want to do that. I'm petrified of people at the moment. And that sounds ridiculous from someone like me who loves people and just, I don't know. I'm just, at the moment, I'm feeling it from a lot of different ways. And I just think, yes, Are You OK is awesome. And what it does, it's been amazing because I've got some great friends that actually do check in on me. I just got to stop it and actually take note at the moment, I think.
Absolutely.
Sorry, guys.
You don't
apologise.
That's exactly what you know what these chats are for. And I'd really encourage you to think of yourself now, Adam. You know, you've carried a lot of people and you've got a lot of burden, a lot of weight there, but you need to look after yourself first and foremost now. And all of us on this call are giving you that permission to say it's about you now. There's other people can get their help from other people. You need to focus on you. And what you're feeling with heightened anxiety is so representative of the nation. I know that you feel like you're alone in that, but all of our stats from all the support services are shown, Black Dog, 75% of people feel like their mental well-being has been affected. We've got Beyond Blue with the coronavirus wellbeing service. All of those services are really seeing a lot of people reaching out. And the media is a big one. When we're feeling anxious and we're feeling paranoid, the media can really fuel that. So our advice is very much to limit your consumption. Just try to step away from it or just go to one trusted source. And just know and acknowledge that that is a trigger for you. And so how can you still get your information at a time and a place that's best for you? But right now, let other people find other support and focus on yourself.
Thank you, Katherine.
I'm sure that everyone on this call will be checking in with you and seeing how you're going.
Yeah, I think very
that's such a good idea. I mean, I check in with him almost like 5 times a day as it is. Obviously, I'm not doing too much good.
Well, sometimes it just takes, that's the thing. Sometimes we are okay. You know, sometimes it just takes a moment to go, no, you know what, this is shit. I had my wobble in June last year and I just thought, oh my goodness, this is just too much. And yet I was saying to all the team, I'm fine. So sometimes it's just that moment, isn't it? But I would say that I find when these moments happen, it's because there's trust and there's authenticity. When there's no trust and people are saying it tokenistic, it won't work. It doesn't happen. But this is obviously a group where there's trust and you felt that you could share that, Adam, without judgment from us.
Yeah, I think very gutsy, Adam. But I think my question is, like, where's the best place to get some resources? So, you know, Are You OK website, Beyond Blue, like, is where anyone watching can go to find out some info?
Yeah, I'd really encourage, particularly with what Adam's just described and the pandemic, Beyond Blue, coronavirus wellbeing service, their phone, their online chat, and their text as well. So it's a really good way to understand what's happening to ourselves psychologically, what's happening physiologically with us at the moment on this roller coaster. The Mental Health Commission are putting out the tips. Avoid media consumption, like limit your media consumption, make sure that you're trying to do everything you can to sleep well, try to reduce your substance abuse or avoid it completely, and exercise. So the Commission are really reinforcing their messages at the moment, but the Beyond Blue wellbeing service, start there.
I actually like the whole to come back on your media consumption. Paul McDonald, who's a good friend of a lot of ours on the panel, he said this week, turn your TVs off. I mean, you know, when we're seeing figures come through of infection rates and people are, you know, they're out in the community and it's not slowing down. We're looking at another 4 weeks is what we're being told. You know, that is so bloody stressful. And I mean, it's taken until today to hear about any kind of support packages to help our industry. I know that Amanda, you know, that it's just so devastating. And I agree. Turn the TV and the news off. Just less than what you are at the moment.
And consider your circle of control. So what can you as a person control? None of us can control this pandemic. None of us are Gladys. None of us are in control of this lockdown. What can we control? What can I control today? I'm not going to think about next week, but for today and the next few days, I know that that is too big for me. So I'm just going to look at what can I do tonight to make sure I get a good night's sleep? Who can I talk to today? Who can I trust? And just keep what's happening psychologically is our brain is still in fight or flight mode. And our brains are not designed to be in fight or flight mode for a long time. So when we hit in March, the levels of anxiety and paranoia and distress went right through the roof because we all switched to fight or flight. None of us expected to still be there. Do you remember by Easter, we were all exhausted? And then we came back after Easter and everyone had a bit of a, oh, okay, this is going to be all right. There's a bit of, there's a bit of hope here. There's going to be a vaccine and things are going to start coming out. And so June, we actually saw hope. So what happened is we went fight or flight, exhaustion, and a bit of hope, and we came out to it. And now we've been delved back into it. So Victoria first, now us. So again, we've switched to fight or flight. It's exhausting. Our brains can't cope. So this is absolutely a time to look after ourselves.
And just to echo what you were saying, we've all been in management positions or supervisory positions or team leader roles. And in the hospitality industry, as a manager, you're used to solving problems for the business, for your workers, for the people around you. You're doing your forward projections, you're doing menu planning. What's the next thing on the horizon? Rosters, staffing, the whole bit. That we're used to fixing things. We're used to people coming to us with problems and issues and we fix them or find a solution for them. We don't know what the problem's going to be tomorrow. And I found that I was trying to fix the things and questions that people were asking. And then I just realized I don't actually know what the questions are going to be tomorrow because we always try to preempt things. And I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. I don't know what the next week is going to bring, the situation. So the best thing that I've learned to do is cope with it on a day-to-day basis, have a bit of an eye on the future and a bit of a plan A, B, and C in place. But that all could change at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. And you've just got to refocus and regroup. And the other thing that a friend of mine gave me some advice a while ago, that you really have to take the oxygen on an aircraft solution to problems. And if there's an emergency on an airplane, the oxygen mask falls down and you put it on yourself first before you put it on other people. We have to look after ourselves. And in that way, we're able to help other people. And asking those questions, are you okay? Or just keeping the conversation open to people. I think just talking is a good thing, but also conversation is two-way. You need to listen. So that sort of echoes what everybody said tonight.
I think also exercising is really important. We're all over social media all the time. And it's something that we all enjoy to do. And we love to share stories about food, and we love to share images of food. I don't know about anyone else, but I'm a bit like Adam. I'm a bit paranoid. I don't leave the house now unless I absolutely have to. But that comes at a cost to your health and your weight. And when you start to put on weight, you start to feel even worse than the situation that you're actually in. So I think even if we were to, start to encourage people to start to post about being out for their hour walk or whatever it is that they're doing, something pretty could actually create some sort of positivity. What do you think of that, Katherine?
Yeah, I think that's something that you can control, right? That you have for many, and of course there are some that struggle with body image and food, but food, whatever you put into your body is a choice you can make, and you can control it for that day. And of course, having a meal with someone, I'm separated from my family in the UK. That's where I'm really struggling and wobbly. So they'll have their breakfast and I'll have my dinner. It breaks up the monotony of what did you do today? Well, I just did the same thing as what I've done the last 3 weeks. And of course, they were in it for a year, so I totally ran out of conversation topics for them. But when we have a meal together, it can be, I know it's digital and it's not the same, but it can be a moment. Cooking, I quite often have a FaceTime with them and I'm cooking my dinner and we talk about that. So I'd agree.
And conversation topics is interesting as well, because we all have our work relationships and we have our private relationships, and we go to work and talk about our home, and we go to home and talk about our work. And that is a percentage of our conversation that is not there anymore. And also, we're very creative people in the hospitality industry.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people that's been taken away as well. I remember years ago, I went traveling to Europe many years ago in my 20s. And I thought, this is great. I wasn't cooking. I was going out for dinners, eating all sorts of places. And it was about 3 or 4 weeks into, I was traveling with another chef, and about 4 weeks into our holiday, both of us became really agitated and realized that we'd actually cooked nothing more than heated something up for about 4 weeks. So we really miss that creative side of things. And I think a lot of people struggle with that as well.
So that's something you could perhaps put onto your socials, Vanessa. How, encourage conversation around how are you going to get your creativity back? What's going to bring back your spark? And again, that's reminding someone when they feel good. What do you do when you feel good? Have you forgotten what that feels like?
I think that's such an important question at the moment. It is such an important question. I mean, you're taking, the only form of communication we have at the moment is via Zoom or on the phone. And I mean, I don't know about anyone else, but I don't enjoy talking on the phone that much. I'd much prefer to be able to be face to face. And I know that's not possible at the moment, but yeah, it's a bit tough when you're used to that human connection.
The other side of it, I think, is we really, as Gary said, we really got to focus on ourselves as well as managers and leaders in the industry. Because you really have to keep asking yourself every day, are you okay? Every conversation with a casual or full-time an industry friend or at the moment is just so negative, and you kind of get lost and wrapped up in it that, I'm finding myself after conversations or one-on-ones, my workplace, I literally have to take 5 minutes just to process the conversation and the negative context, a positive spin on it. And I'm lucky enough that our business has, a strong EAP program, they're currently pushing a 15-minute exercise program, trying to engage people and get them out, encouraging people only to do in groups of 2, of course. But I really feel like I need that in my day. I find my day is getting so lost in conversations that used to be 5 minutes. They're now 45 minutes. And
yes.
Down. So you've got to be able to step away and go, okay, how do I get myself back up? Because there's somebody else knocking at your door. As soon as you finish one, it's a supplier. It's something else. So yeah, I really think that's a first and foremost focus for all of us, is to make sure that we're, asking ourselves, are we okay, before, you put yourself out there and try and, support and help each other.
But it's also accepting that it is fine to walk away from things when you need to. I mean, I've been involved in so many associations, there's all different things, for decades. And at times I've just had to walk away. And sometimes I've just literally walked away, president of the association, and then I'm just not there anymore. And, no one actually contacted me and said, why did you just walk away? But you have to look after yourself. And although I'd feel guilty, and you have that, it's a continuous thing, because you the more things you got your hand in, you're working, doing things for St Vincent de Paul, and then you're showing up and you're thinking like, I can't even listen to these people, and then they ring you up for a visitation, you're like, no, and you just walk away. But that's fine. I mean, I've done it that many times when I've needed to do it, and I definitely advise people that you have to do it. And I've been on that journey. I've been down. I've had all those things, and I've walked away from jobs. I've walked away from things when I've needed to, and it's been okay. And I encourage people to rethink, how much people are dragging at you. Exactly what Jerry said, the banging on the door, to be an executive chef in a big place, you have so many people. And at a point, it can just be that I just can't do this anymore. I'm not advising people go and do that, but you have to accept that it is okay at times to just not be doing it.
Yeah, I think the focus is just know your own mental health and you know, give yourself time when you need it. Unfortunately, you can't walk away from, you know, when you've got, you know, 800 casuals on your books and you've got full-time people showing up to work every day and they're looking to you for, you know, motivation and, you know, the guarantee that it's going to be okay. I think one of the biggest hurdles that we all have at the moment is just the uncertainty. This second lockdown has really impacted everybody in a totally different way as to when COVID first hit. I think, you know, not having the support, looking at businesses going through a second wave without having true support, you know, for the staff and the impacts it's having on them. And I think it's just that not being able to give that, you know, that light at the end of the tunnel because we don't know where it is. Not being able to, you know, help people that need help when normally, you know, you would always have an answer or you could always give someone advice to, you know, take this path or, you know, step outside the industry because there's plenty of work out there. Unfortunately, there's a lot of unknown at the minute. And, you know, as mentors and managers, we do have to be there and you have got a responsibility to talk to some of your staff, but you've just got to be aware that you also you have a responsibility and a relationship with yourself that you need to protect as well. And if that means you need to go offline for 12 hours, you need to step outside and just put an hour in office and say, oh, I need to recuperate and then come back. Because you're no good to anybody if you're struggling as well.
Yep.
That's actually so true, Jerry. Thank you for sharing that. I think that's a pretty powerful message for us all to absolutely take on board.
No one's a superhero.
No.
None of us is superhuman beings through this. We've all got our limits and we've all got our way of dealing with things. And like you say, it's about finding out what works for us and find to yourselves first and foremost.
And I think that's probably the hardest thing. I think up until this year, we all thought we were pretty superhuman.
Yeah, I had that.
We could solve any problem. We could be anything to anybody. We would just be able to just make it shine and
just bring it on and we'll fix it.
Yeah, and we just are not superhuman.
No, somebody gave me some good advice and it relates to the scale of asking other people is, where's your battery level at? Like, look at, you know, I check in with myself, where's my own battery level at? And exactly that, like every day at 12 now, go for a walk. It's in my time. But also to your point, like if I need that day, you've got to ask for it and let people know. And people are really understanding of it because if your battery's on that red zone, then you're no good to anybody. So yeah, keeping a check. I think that's really cool.
And that's such a great example to your staff. Like if that's what you're saying, like my battery is low, I'm going offline for 12 hours because I need this for me, then just never underestimate the impact that you can have on someone else. Just those words, that action might just be what that person who is holding on just needs to hear, that that other people are feeling the same. Stigma is still so rife. You know, there's still so much stigma around. I can't be seen as weak. I can't be seen as saying how I really feel. I can't tell anyone that I'm seeing a psychologist or a counsellor. It's so hard to shift that stigma dial. But if we all band together and show this real vulnerability and openness ourselves, then that ripple effect will get bigger and bigger.
And also we need to be mindful that it might be us tomorrow that needs that emotional support from the people around us. We don't know what is going to trigger in our own personal lives that's going to cause us a huge, not a breakdown, but for us to withdraw, for us to be the one looking to somebody else for support. And, you know, we need to keep those conversations open with all the people around us, our work colleagues, our family, our friends, everybody.
You're right, because life doesn't stop, does it? Like, you know, we've got the pandemic, but we all still grieve. We all still lose people. We have relationship breakdowns, injury, that comes from nowhere. And like life is still going on. And then we've got this added layer of the pandemic. So you're so right. None of us, again, are protected from things like grief and loss. So yeah, one day we might need it. We will need it.
Katherine, for, you know, taking all what's been discussed around, you know, managing your energies and And I agree, it can be quite draining when you're having those sorts of conversations. Is there an idea of, we're obviously going through a really tough time at the moment and energy dependent. How many people should we be thinking about reaching out to? Like, should we have a list of, I don't know, do you just do it, respond when you see? Or, is it good to kind of go, you know what, I'm going to think about 5 people I'm going to reach out to and then have those, is it like, what's the right advice or yeah.
Yeah, I would suggest regular check-ins are best. So don't wait until you start to see the signs. I think just having a regular, so say I'm walking or say I'm running, I might have a think about who haven't I checked in with for a while. I don't know that anything bad's happening. I don't know that they're feeling low, but I'm just going to check in and say hi. And if they're fine, it's a 5-minute, how you going? Yeah, all good. And it's a 5-minute chat. If they're not, then that's nice that I've caught them at that moment. So there's no prescriptive time, of the number or how long you need to be on the call. But I think it's certainly better for those that you love and care about, and keep those close, and then think about your outer circle.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, and I'll often open up a conversation like that. So I was just thinking about you, checking in. Yeah, and I often, and I think it's interesting you said the point around sometimes there's some stigma around the words, are you okay? And I hadn't heard that, and I hadn't thought about that until you said that. And sometimes I kind of just change the script a little bit. I often like using the term, how's your headspace?
Yeah.
That one resonates with me. And then, a couple words in between, there's a lot going on. I just wanted to check and see how, are you okay? And bring it in the background, and then they kind of, get the way that the conversation goes. But it's tough. We're having a conversation yesterday, one-on-one with a distributor. He is 70% down in this wave, and you can't bring your costs down anywhere near that revenue drop. And I said to him, I was trying to have a bit of a strategic conversation with him about what we're trying to do and what the key issues are for distributors. And I said, try and put COVID to the side. And it was the stupidest thing I said. He said, mate, it's next to impossible. It's been 18 months. I don't remember what it was like before this. He could not, there's no way that he could take himself out of this situation. And when you're 70% down trying to pay your staff and just can't bring your costs down, it was really actually quite a confronting conversation. It was draining at the end of it. I felt really crap at the end of it because it was just, really average dialogue. Things were not good.
Yeah, it's not always yellow and sprightly.
Yeah.
It's real. It's that sometimes there are no easy solutions. Sometimes when we say to people, have you thought about this or thought about that? And it's just like you say, it can create such an emotional reaction for them. And then we think, oh gosh, I got it wrong. But at least you asked, and at least you started to explore it. And that's why a good open-ended question is just, I can't imagine what that's like for you. Or I can imagine that's so tough. What's the best thing? What are you thinking of doing? What's the next step for you? And then let them lead you down the path that they might not even be able to articulate it properly, but they might just be having a few seeds here, and just verbalizing it helps us so much sometimes. When we actually say it out loud, it might just help them. I call it sometimes, I've got this from someone I work with, and it's like a big ball of knots, threads all knotted. And sometimes when we verbalize an idea or just a thought, it can help unravel just a thread on a path. But I think that's the other thing as well for some people who find Are You Okay triggering, it's that people will try and fix it. They will try to say, I know what that's like, you should do this or that. And they don't want that. That's not why they've opened up to you. They just want you to hear them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's something it's a bad habit I'm going to admit of mine, is that, if I say to somebody, how's everything going, and they tell you what the problem is, it's like, well, okay, let's just troubleshoot it. It's not the right way to deal with it. As we went back to what Gary said before, we're also used to dealing with problems and finding solutions that this is way above what we do.
Yeah.
Something else that, sorry, someone else just say something? No, something else that has actually been very helpful for myself, and I'm not going to speak on behalf of Gary and Adam, but since COVID hit last year, we've actually, we were doing daily phone calls of a morning at 8 o'clock, and it was every morning just to check in, say good day. That was just such a powerful way to get through the last 12 months. We actually continue it to this day, but we do it 3 days a week now. And if anybody wants to join that conversation, just reach out. I am more than happy to send you the link. It's just a Zoom. We do it for about 30 minutes. It's positive talk. It's a bit of gossip. You know, we all love a bit of gossip. We have a laugh, and
I'm in.
It's just been amazing.
Yeah. And
that's just a check-in, isn't it? That's a regular check-in. How's life? How are you traveling?
That was a really important thing for me last year. Without going into too much detail, my partner was away last year for almost 10 months or just over 10 months. Mm-hmm. So I was at home by myself, and I really value those calls that were made every day, because some days it wasn't real good. You know, some days I really felt alone, and it really helped me get through the day and the morning and the whole bit. And it also gave me something to talk about with my partner. You know, we just weren't talking about what did you do today. You know, he was interested in what was going on with the conversations and the friendships that developed and the people that were coming in and out of those calls. So it was actually a very important thing for me, and something that I cherish very dearly.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, and as I said, we do them to this day every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. They're just a little get together, and we chat it out for 30 minutes, and yeah, it's just a nice way to start the day. And apart from that, it gets you organized. So you have to get out of bed, you have to get dressed, you have to have your morning voice on, and it just keeps you in a routine.
Yeah. And we try and solve problems of the world every day.
That's where we actually
fail, but we do it.
And if there's no problems there, we make them up and then try.
It's so true. It's so
true. It's the same with these Tuesdays though as well, Vanessa. You need a lot of credit for these as well. I think it's, you know, I look forward to coming home and dialing into these, because I think it is a good network. I think there is a lot of, you know, strong people on the line, you know, industry friends and friends. And it's good to be able to talk openly about, you know, what you're feeling, how you're feeling, what's impacting you today, what's going to be impacting us tomorrow. So, you know, thank you as well, because I do get a lot out of these, and I think everybody else on the line gets a lot out of these. You know,
exactly.
It's just keeping you connected, which is really good. So thank you.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. I think I agree with you. I mean, you know, I was explaining this to Katherine, I think, when I asked her to come onto this webinar or this live session tonight. And I said, we aren't for any particular purpose. We are just a group of people that are like-minded, that care about others. We care about our industry, and we genuinely need to know how to deal through this situation, or where to go to get that sort of support. So it's absolutely true. I mean, there can't be an agenda with this. It's just having an honest conversation.
This is so heartening.
We need to listen. Yeah.
This is so heartening to see this in action, because people quite often ask me, what can I do? Like, who's doing it? It's quite funny seeing the industries that are competitive. So who's doing things? What are they doing? Who's doing it best? What have you seen? What are the good examples? And this will be such a nice example for me to say it's a group of like-minded friends getting together and checking in and having a chat, literally. You know,
and I can't fit 1,000 people on our Zoom call. Otherwise, it would be just like blowing out. I'm feeling a little bit bad, because I feel like Amanda and Sammy haven't had a lot to say, and I really want them to, you know, to make sure that they're okay and that they feel like they're part of the conversation. And Amanda, I don't care if you've got kids in the background, darling. That's exactly what this is about. You just
the kids have quietened down now. No, I think it's just nice to listen to other stuff for a change today.
I've never heard you so quiet.
Yeah. Maybe it's due. Maybe it's due for me to shut up.
Perfect.
We're finding things
No,
out
for me,
that we didn't know.
for me, it's just been it's been a good listening session as well. It hasn't been easy. Vanessa, you and I have probably had a personal crap year as well, with us both losing our fathers. You know, that's really rocked me. I thought I was invincible until that happened this year, and the people who are close to me know that really smashed me for a 6. You know, and I'm still struggling with it. But I guess the other day, what I find as a good recluse is, you're right, exercise. No matter how cold it is, I go out and run 4Ks every night, and I get on the phone and talk to Adam when I'm running those 4Ks. And I'm not the fastest, but I'll get it done. And then I'll do 36 minutes in my COVID gym at the back, the den at the back, right? Which is and that helps me. And then what else I felt helped my family is, you know, I can be a bit selfish and think it's just about me and the stress and the money maker and leading this family through this crisis and looking after my mum and you know. But what I found the other day, I had to think about it. I was actually doing some cooking like I usually do on the weekend out at my barbecues, and I said, well, how about how's the rest of the family feeling? So when I put dinner on the table that night, we sat everyone on the table, and I watched something or I read something. I can't remember where I picked it up, but what I said is, whilst everyone was eating, because it's very rarely we all sit at the table because everyone's busy doing their own thing. I've got busy teenagers. And that's one good thing COVID's done. It's getting us all together in the same house. I said, everyone turn to their right and say one good thing about that person to your right. And believe you me, you know, 3 teenage girls always fighting, you know. I said, no, everyone has to say at least one positive thing to your right, and then go back around the table. And it was fantastic. And, you know, and Emily and Bella, my 17 and 14-year-olds, are like negative and positive, you know, they're tearing each other apart all the time. They actually said something good about each other, and you know, it brought a smile to the face, and it was good dinner conversation. And then today, another good thing about being at home, we have an early dinner. So my eldest daughter, you know, joined the hospitality ranks this week. It's her second shift at McDonald's tonight. So I'm very proud of her. Yeah. So she finishes, got to pick her up after this session at 8 o'clock. But the same thing today, we had an early dinner at 3 o'clock. And it was actually brought up by Emily now. That same thing, they enjoyed it so much, did it again, you know. So I guess little things like that, just saying something nice to each other, you know, does break down the anxiety. And, you know, people have been checking in, saying to me, especially in meetings every day, are you okay? How's everything going in Sydney? I said, I'm doing fine. Salary in my bank every month. I've got plenty of room. You know, there's food in the cupboards. Don't worry about me. There's a lot worse doing, you know, more than me, you know, and there really is. So, you know, if anyone needs to reach out to myself, and that includes you, Adam, you know what I mean, or anyone else on this call, I'm pretty easy to track down, you know, and I'm always got a listening ear. And you're right, Vanessa, I've got that fault too, trying to find an answer all the time when there's probably, I probably should just shut up. I really enjoyed the topic today about keeping your mouth over your hands. So I'll try and do that in a few meetings this week. Thank you. That's something I've learned. So yeah, good conversation.
Well said, Chef.
I love that. I'm just wondering though, how it will work that I have to sit next to Phil while we're having dinner. Go backwards and forwards and keep saying nice things to each other. That'll be interesting.
Indeed. Well, it was pretty tough. It was pretty tough for all of us, but it was a good icebreaker. Probably a bit corny, the kids found, but good icebreaker. You know?
I love it. I think it's a great idea. I might put Mum on FaceTime actually, because she says to me the other day, she rang up and Mum's like, so have I done something to offend you or to upset you? And I'm like, no, because I normally ring her every day, but I just haven't had anything to talk to her about. And I get on there and it's kind of like, okay, just, you know, treading water here. I might bring her into that conversation, Sammy. I love that idea.
Give it a go.
That'd be awesome.
We wondered if because we were trying to put a kit together for staff meals, for conversation starters for staff meals, and we were thinking about doing some sets of cards with them, just to and then feeding it in with some resources around, you know, if you're going around the table and you're having these chats and someone's not seeming so well, whether they let you know or not, what can you do to keep the conversation going after the meal? That would be a good one to put in those kits. Say something nice. You're
like
right.
those cards, like We're Not Strangers or something like that. Or have you heard of that set of cards?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, I'll send you a link to it. It's look, it's right on the emotional side. There's a lot of, you know, you can get real close, but it's just beautiful questions to be, you know, to your point, to sort of be more open and you know, maybe just a bit more connected. I'll send you a link to it. I think you'll like it.
It's another way to explore when and how we're at our best.
Yeah.
If someone tells us what's good about us, that in our dark times, that one might just come through.
Yeah, I love that.
And I guess something else that I've fallen into a bit of a habit, because I've been quite down this year. I'm turning to, at home, I'm turning to the chocolate in the fridge and all that kind of crap too, trying to make me happy. So, you know, I've just swapped that around with some almonds, you know, or something else. So, Katherine, sorry, is that your name, Katherine Newton?
Yes.
Or yeah. Another good reminder. You know, we have the choice what we want to put in our mouths. We've got that choice, you know. So I actually went out at 12 o'clock today and ran down to Aldi, and I did the right thing. You know, walked in, ran quickly, picked up some bananas, picked up some strawberries, picked up some oranges, and made sure all my daughters who are doing homeschooling had a big bowl of fruit and all that kind of stuff available to them, you know, because it's too easy to go down and get a packet of toffee pops or something, you know. That's me, you know. So if there's variety there, and you know, and there's good food in the house, I think it brings positive energy. So, you know, just remember that tomorrow, guys. You know, I'm not telling everyone to go on a bloody you know, Jenny Craig diet, but what I'm saying is try and have some good food, and it'll help you out. It'll bring some positive energy to your day. You know, plenty of red meat.
Are you suggesting a veggie burger from the drive-thru at McDonald's tonight, Berkey, or what?
No, mate, didn't they get rid of them last week?
Sam, I've been looking at your post, and I went down and bought a bowl of fruit, and then I came back with 2 cases of KB.
I was just thinking, it gives me a reason to have a conversation. I stand in front of the fridge saying, "You don't need that, Vanessa," but I really want that, Vanessa. You don't need that, Vanessa.
I'm the worst, Vanessa. I open up a packet of Darrell Lee and half a block's gone. I think I went for a half a block in the Ash Barty match the other night, and then I switched to pistachios because I was feeling bad, you know. So.
Then the next step is, Sam, when you go to the cupboard and get the chocolate out and melt it, and then mix the pistachio nuts through the chocolate.
Oh, now we're talking, Chef. Now we're talking.
Creative.
Love it.
The business that our business has is at the minute, and they said, you know, with every one-on-one or everything that you're doing at the moment, you just got to ask yourself, what's the 3 positives? You know, the problem is every time I go to the fridge and take out a bar of dairy milk, I can find 17 positives for eating that chocolate. I just can't find the negatives.
Exactly.
It's made with palm oil, Jerry.
Yeah.
I was devastated the other day. I tried to find any excuse I could to go out and get myself a packet of honey soy kettle chips. You know, the ones that there, you just eat
smash them easy.
Anyway, everywhere I went to was sold out.
Oh,
and I was
that's not a deterrent.
It was an omen. I was like, okay, well, I'm not meant to have those. I'll just get something else instead.
I'm doing dry July, the worst month of the year.
I'm so proud of you, mate.
Not even 2 weeks in.
It's probably actually a good thing, Jerry.
It is. It's a very good thing, Vanessa, I can tell you.
Yeah.
Especially when you have Miss Julie Ballard saying that Dan Murphy's is an essential service.
Saving the lives of many.
Yes.
Good on you. Good luck with that, Dry July.
Yeah.
Good on you.
Yeah, no, he's a legend. But anyway, guys, well, once again, thank you so much, and look forward to coming back next week and having another discussion about something, you know, as equally important and that's obviously affecting all of us at the moment in some capacity. And I hope that we can all be on the 8 on the rating scale. It'd be great to see us all uplifted. I hope that the word tonight with the relief and the stimulus that's come through can at least allow some businesses some form of support and shine a little bit of sunshine on their business. I think it's just important to be kind to each other, you know, like, I mean, I've had people that I really do care about have sent me messages they've received from other people, and it's just nasty, you know, like if you've not got something nice to say, then just don't say anything.
Yeah, don't waste the energy. Yeah.
Yeah. And don't take it on board when you get that crap from other people. I just put it down to poor you and move on. I just can't deal with that. It's yeah, I don't want to be part of that.
No. And if anyone wants to join our little Zoom on the Monday, Wednesday and Friday, I'm sure that Gary and Adam won't mind a little bit of extra company. You're all welcome. So you just send me a message and I'll send you the link. And you can come and go. Like if you want to just come in for 5 minutes, then just do that. There's no core, you know, of what is expected. We just play it by ear.
There is, Vanessa. There is. There's recipes and Netflix shows. There we go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, good on Netflix shares are up.
So what is everyone's favorite Netflix show at the moment? Let's just end it on a positive note.
Oh, for me, Animal Kingdom. They've just launched series 5, so it's based on the Aussie movie, but it's a US show. Animal Kingdom, love it. So
love that. Is that the one with the grandmother that was like a
she's dead now, but anyway, we're moving on.
Oh gosh, I have to catch up.
Yeah.
Amanda, what about you? What are you watching?
I haven't watched TV for weeks. I'm just too tired by the end of getting through stuff, so nothing. I don't know where the time goes, but no time to watch TV.
Yeah, how's homeschool going?
It's awesome. One last year was bad, but now I've got a kindergarten and a year 2, and they need a lot of navigating, and it's brutal because they're just too young to, I don't know, it's very hard.
Maybe we should all throw in and get a nanny support service or something.
Well, my husband stood down, so there's 2 of us here this time, whereas last year there was only 1.
Has Tim been stood down? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, sorry, man.
Well, they're shut, so they're all down. So hopefully this doesn't go on for as long as they say.
Yeah, well, we're thinking and obviously here for you anytime.
This will pass. It's just so frustrating that we didn't learn from last year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, on one side, we can say it's frustrating we didn't learn, but we didn't see this coming. This is, you know, this wasn't on anybody's crystal ball radar, and we just got to go with the rest of it.
I guess hindsight's a thing, right? But I guess in retrospect, we should have had some robust systems in place to avoid it happening again. And we failed colossally at doing that. So if nothing happens between then and now, of course, it's going to reoccur until something does happen.
Yeah, yeah.
So I guess we didn't really learn. We didn't forecast it to happen, but we didn't put any preventative measures in place, which in our line of work we would have, right? If someone burnt themselves or someone tripped over, we would have had risk assessments and we would have ensured it didn't happen again. But unfortunately, we've been failed. And
I know that we're out of time, and I'm just going to quickly say it. But you know, the reports are, you know, we haven't learnt from our lessons, because when you look at Lygon Street and all the crowd that were out there watching,
yeah, it was madness.
And it's like, well, have we learnt from what we already know? We can't go back to the past, but you know what? Maybe that's a conversation for next week.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we need to be worried, no, not worried, but I hope that next week doesn't bring us or put us backwards, because obviously there's different celebrations going on next week for, you know, Eid's on next week. So hopefully that doesn't, yeah, hopefully that doesn't put us back, because how horrible to not be able to celebrate, but hopefully people respect the orders, because it would be heartbreaking to see that we've gone through 3-4 weeks and the cases surge further in the areas that they currently are due to that celebration.
Absolutely. Just turning the conversation around a little bit, and I hear you, Amanda. I love you. Jerry, what are you watching on Netflix?
I'm actually one person that doesn't watch Netflix. I come home and, like, you know, I get up early and I go to the gym trying to get my, you know, my mental state ready for the day. And so I'm usually in bed by about 8:30. So I'm pretty much of a dead bird at night. So, you know, my kids pay for Netflix. I got Stan. I think we got I got it all, but I actually don't. You know what I'm watching? I'm actually watching MasterChef. And I'm enjoying it. I'm
desperate.
Yeah, I am. I'm actually happy to admit I'm enjoying it, you know, but that's what I watch. That's the highlight of my week.
Is that show still on air? I'm surprised.
It is, yeah.
Last episode tonight.
Yeah.
Last episode.
The grand finale. If you're ever going to watch anything, watch the last episode just to see who wins.
I'll throw myself out there. I'm watching Beauty and the Geeks. It started 2 days ago because I just need complete mind numbing at the end of the day. I really want to watch. I'm with you. Anything
I'm
that's
bad, Laura. I'm not that bad. I don't know.
Oh, sorry, I'm the same.
Sophie Monk's a great host. I mean,
She is. That's what my husband says.
What about you, Sammy?
Better than reviews, anyway.
Like Jerry, I pay for every damn subscription. I reckon a quarter of my income goes to it. Disney, Stan, you know, Netflix. My family are the biggest subscribers. I pay for one service that I watch, you know, as well as those others, but the only one I watch is KO and NRL 360. So there's a big rugby league buffhead, and that's about it. And maybe, and Peter Overton at Channel 9 at 6. That's it. That's all I watch. And then the rugby league on the weekend. So, yeah.
Ads?
That's it.
I've run out of series that I'm enjoying, so I'm rewatching Nailed It because I love watching everyone else fail at cooking. It's great. Makes me laugh. Sorry.
Oh, that's funny. Katherine, what about you?
I've just discovered something that apparently I'm 10 or 20, perhaps probably more decades too late, this amazing world of Marvel and Avengers. I've got young nieces and nephew, and I just caught part of I think it was Captain America, and then I've realized Iron Man, and then everyone comes together in these Avenger films. So I don't normally go for that stuff, but I'm very much enjoying my journey.
That's awesome.
Escapism again, just complete.
Yeah.
What about you, Gary?
Oh, look, I'm feeling a little bit left out because I'm watching a very educational show called Superstore. And
oh my goodness.
Yeah, I find that I need that total escapism and half an hour of absolute trashy, stupid comedy with many series. I just sit there and watch that and think this is great. The other thing that I go to is I love cartoons, and I go and watch some of the old cartoons and even some of the new ones. And yeah, I quite like that. Just something where you don't have to think about it, and it's just a bit of fun and enjoyment.
Tony?
I've got 3 bits of advice for you all. So yesterday I bought a new Google Chromecast with Google TV. It's $99. Believe me, purchase this machine, use it, it will change your life. That's first bit of advice. The next bit The next bit is a free-to-air recommendation. I just watched it last night, actually this morning, because I fell asleep. 2 movies last night. The Men Who Stare at Goats. Has anybody seen that one? It's got George Clooney and who else is in there? Anyway, you need to see that. It's a comedy. It's on iView, so it's free, easy. And then Netflix. I watched a really good movie. It's a bit disturbing, a bit dark, but it's called Run, and it's about a mother that keeps her child sick, and then of course it turns into this massive drama. So it's a bit of a thriller. So there's 3 things for you.
Love that. And Mr.
I
Paul.
consume a lot.
I spend most of my time flicking through, looking at the movies, and after about half an hour, I realise I've picked nothing, and it feels like it was a few days before when I did exactly the same thing. But I did come across one the other night called Adeline, and it caught my eye because that's my new granddaughter's name.
Oh.
And then my wife was going to work that night, so she was in bed, and I was halfway through the movie, and she came out, and I said, you shouldn't watch it. And she said, I'm just going to watch the end. I says, don't watch the end. I said, you need to watch this whole movie. I said, I just love it. Like, it just got me. And I said, do not watch it. Go somewhere else for the next 40 minutes. And then she actually went and worked the night shift somewhere, but I don't know what she does, but she had some time to actually watch the movie on her phone and watched it that night and agreed that it was absolutely sensational. It was just so uplifting. If you haven't seen it, I'd advise seeing it.
Is that the lady that doesn't age?
Yes.
Yes, it's good. It's clever.
It was good.
Well, I'm going to check in and watch that one. But for those that care, I'm watching SWAT.
What?
It's a long series and it takes a long time and it's awesome. But anyway, on that note, I want you all to have a nice night with your families. Turn the TV off, have a conversation, and be kind to each other.
Thanks very much.
Bye.
Thinking of you, Adam.
Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Catherine.
Really nice chat.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.